Today I'm going to talk about the polyvagal theory, which is a theory from mainly from Dr. Stephen Porges, that maybe some of you know, and how important is that for our well-being, and also in body psychotherapy and how we work in core energetics or other modalities of body psychotherapy, how we work with that. For that, we need to know a little bit of anatomy and functioning of the nervous system and of the vagus nerve, which I would talk about later. So this polyvagal theory was developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, and he's a pretty renowned psychiatrist and scientific. And what he just discovered is that we as a mammals, in our development, our nervous system was developing too, right? And our nervous system is organized hierarchically. And the first, let's say, set of branches and connections which were made, this first circuit was in order to promote defensive behaviors. The one we know, fight flight behavior, or the freeze, or the immobility state, right? And as we were growing as mammals and we were interacting more and going more into community, there was a second branch of nerves, and this is the vagus nerve, which was created to promote the development of social behavior. And this is about engaging with the eyes, facial expression, and prosodic voice. We're going to see that later, what it really means. But what I want you to take in now is that all mammals, not only human beings, but also other animals, we need to connect with other mammals, also pets, right, in order to co-regulate. So we are able to regulate our nervous system and whatever we are feeling, our emotions and behaviors and our body, the best if we have somebody else which help us, right? And we do that through reading the mimic expression, the facial expression, the tone of voice, and engaging with the eyes and all these things. And one of the mammals who has it in a perfect, they do it perfectly, and they are really very, very good readers of the vagus state. The vagus state, you will learn it later, is the state of relaxation of somebody, are horses. Horses, I don't know if you know, there are, now it's, you know, there's a vibe or a hype on leadership through horses, and it's because horses are so much in the state of flight that they really need to, they read all your face, all your posture, everything, and they can read if you're relaxed or not. Because if you're not relaxed, that means that you could be a lion, right? Or some kind of danger for them. So in these leadership workshops, what they do with leaders, with managers, is they work on authenticity, because a lot of the old authenticity was authenticity which, you know, through talking, through having a nice suit or looking good, instead of really, do you feel safe and do you feel relaxed? Because only if you feel relaxed, you can lead somebody else. And that's what we do. In fact, that's what we do as a therapist. We need to be in a very co-regulating, relaxed state in order to help our clients, right? And I think I was not that aware of it until I just started studying this. So the autonomic nervous system has two big parts, which is the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic system is the one responsible for rest, you know, we need to rest in order to sleep, in order to regenerate, to heal. We need also rest phases within in the day, so that we can, you know, stay healthy. And we need to be in a healthy state of rest in order to develop ourselves. Children, and this is one of the major causes of problems of attention and attention deficits and so on, and hyperactivity, is because the parasympathetic system is not activated enough, right? So they don't get rest enough. So that's why it's difficult for them to focus. And the other part is the sympathetic nervous system, which is the one who encourages us or helps us to move, right? To go into action. And we need to move to, we need the sympathetic system in order to wake up in the morning, get out of bed, have a shower, run to the bus, be in movement, work, right? Our system needs it to metabolize what we're eating and so on. So in the best of the cases, both systems are in balance, right? I have phases of action and I have phases of rest, and this goes perfectly in balance. That would be a nice life, right? And again here, just that you see it from an anatomic view, the sympathetic, it's the action, parasympathetic, relax. And you see here in blue the nerves which are connected with what organs. And you see here that in the parasympathetic system, there's one nerve, which is the 10th nerve. It's the vagus nerve. And this, as you see, it's compound by 75% of the parasympathetic. So it's a very, very important nerve. Okay, so as I said, it constitutes 75% of the parasympathetic, and it's the one you see here in yellow. And it starts here in the back of the brain. I just don't remember right now how it's called. It goes through the middle ear, and this is very important. I'm going to explain later why. Goes down, it connects here through the fascial nerves and the scalp nerves. Goes down through the larynx and pharynx, right? It innervates the heart and the lungs, the stomach, the liver, the pancreas, the kidneys, and the small intestines. So it's responsible to produce calm and relaxation in these organs, right? And it also regulates and decreases the fear which is created in the amygdala. And it's, as I said, involved in non-verbal and verbal communication and social interaction. So just that you have an idea anatomically how it looks like, this yellow, what you see here, is not all of the vagus nerve, but some of them is a strain of the vagus, and it's embedded or unnerved. There are many nerves coming together in the ear area, which also with the facial nerves and the scalp nerves, which you see here in this picture, which is not that good. So we have a lot of nerves also here, right? And all the faces. Okay. And here some more that you see what is the connection with other nerves, right? So you see here several other nerves which are also responsible for all this area, the tension in this area, the relaxation here. So also has to do with the breathing and with the neck area, headaches, and so on. So I talked about the middle ear, and I want to show you a little bit why is it so important in the state of relaxation. The whole ear, we have the external ear, the middle ear, and the internal ear. And the middle ear, the whole ear is surrounded by bones and muscles. And muscles, as probably most of you know, they don't function by themselves. They need to have electrical impulses in order to contract and relax, right? This is general for muscles. And the muscles of the middle ear are nerved, let's say, nourished by the vagus nerve, right? So, and it's important that these muscles are working well, because if the eardrum is tightened, right, and it's tightened if the muscles are working well, and the sound which comes from the outside will change. And it's like a kettle drum. If you loosen the skin of the drum, you hear lower sounds than if you tighten it up, right? So this works the same way. So if you tighten it, you will hear more high frequency sounds. And if it's loosened, if it's not that trained, like you're training a biceps in the gym, if it's not that trained, the skin will be a little bit loosened, and lower frequency sounds will come through. And you see that here, right? How when middle ear muscles are not working well, yeah, they let in a lot of sound, all kinds of sound, and if they are working well, they work like a filter, let's say. And the important thing here is that if they're working well, they filter surrounding sounds, right? And you can concentrate on the voice on the human voice, which is usually of higher frequency than the surrounding. So this is important. I always put this example, like when you're in a bar and there's a lot of noise. Most of us, like me, I cannot concentrate on the person talking to me, because I hear everything in the surrounding. And this is because my middle ear muscle is not as well trained. If it would be better trained, I would have my capacity to filter the surroundings and to concentrate only to the person speaking would be much easier. What does it mean? That if my system, because this is not something I think about, this is for most of us is unconscious, but if my system is paying attention to the surroundings, meaning also that the vagus nerve is not activated, I'm immediately, and we will see that later, I'm immediately in a state of alert. So I am, even if I don't notice it, I am looking for the lion already. So I'm in a bar and I'm looking for the lion, and I'm not concentrating in my partner, right? And that has all kinds of consequences. For me, I get aggressive. Other people disconnect, right? We have a lot of people who dissociate. So they're there, but they're not there. They're also not listening. But what it means is that stresses the system, because I'm more in the sympathetic system than in the parasympathetic. And we will see that how it works that afterwards. So what happens if the vagus nerve is not functioning well? This is a list of diseases who can result from malfunctioning, all kind of depressions, anxiety, panic attacks, overweight because my metabolism is not working well, digestive problems, and as you see is all this tachycardia, all these problems or problems resulting from the organs which are connected to the vagus nerve. So you have an idea now what is parasympathetic, what is sympathetic, and anatomically how this goes together. And now let's talk about the polyvagal circle, how this works. So just as a reminder, that would be a healthy system. I have phases of rest and phases of action. and everything is okay. So how does this work on an anatomic nervous system? Our nervous system is constantly 24 hours checking for safety. And this is called neuroception. Neuroception is a term which was created from Stephen Porges. And it's the capacity that our bodies have, and this is in the body, right? To sense our inner body, our organs, as we saw, it was related to a lot of organs, and get this information from our body, how is our body doing, and also get the information from the outside, the environmental sensory perception, and from this information checking if I'm in a safe environment or if I'm not in a safe environment, right? And you need to I think it's important here to know that we have not 5 senses, we have 7 senses, right? Many people don't know it, but we don't have the typical 5 senses who everybody knows. We have also the proprioception, which is the sense of our body in the room. And we have the vesicular system, which is in the inner ear, which is responsible for the balancing, right? And moving the head and finding balance, and or fixing movement, an object which is moving, fixing it with the eyes and not getting dizzy and all these things, right? So this is all information we get from the outside, and our body just checks, is this safe? Is this danger? Or am I about to die? These are the 3 states, so to say. So the 3 alternatives, how we react to danger, would be, as I said, we perceive danger from the outside. And that could be something like, just to put an example of what proprioception sensory is, it's like when we have a tremor in the ground, like the beginning of an earthquake, let's say. So we notice through our proprioception sense that the earth underneath our feet is moving, right? So the first thing we do, if we are in a normal state, is we go into the social engagement system, we use them, and we try to solve the problem with through communication and social involvement. So we would ask our partner, oh, are you noticing that the ground is trembling? And maybe I look at him and I look at his expression in the face and his eyes and maybe his posture, and I notice he's sensing the same like me. So either we talk and we try to solve the problem, and if it's not possible, then our activation system, our sympathetic system gets activated. So we need to find a solution through flight or fight. So we run and try to, seek safety under a house or under a desk or whatever. And if that doesn't even work because the earthquake is so big that everything, starts falling down, we may faint. So this is also a protective mechanism of our body, which is the dorsal vagus nerve, the first circuit which was created in order to faint. That's what, so we save resources in our life. And that's what, let's say, mouses do when they get, the cat is going after the mouse, and at some point it catches it. And then suddenly the mouse, you think it's dead, it's not moving anymore. So the cat doesn't eat it anymore or doesn't play with it anymore, but because she thinks it's dead. But after a while, he kind of comes out of his coma and starts running again. So he used his immobilization system to save his life. And we do the same as humans. Our autonomic nervous systems prepares us for either create attachment in connection, in personal social interaction, either to deal with danger or to survive to mortal danger. Okay, and it does this by regulating our body, our organs, which you saw before, through the breathing, through the heart rate, through the muscle tensions, and through the gastrointestinal activity, facial expressions, voice, and listening. So this is safety. What happens if my ventral vagus nerve is activated? I'm in my social engagement system. This is also a term what Stephen Porges discovered, the green light, right? So we feel we are relaxed, our heartbeats is calm, our social hormones are released, oxytocin to induce the bonding. Our intestines, we have a good digestion, our face muscles are relaxed. So if you look at me, I smile at you, right? So my voice is prosodic, melodic. That means prosodic voice is this voice which has a certain rhythm and a certain intonation and tone, which is inviting you to trust me because this is safe. It's the same voice that we use without knowing it, that we use when we want to read children a books in order that they fall asleep. It's a very nice voice which invites you to relax and to interconnection. It's not a very high, right? It's that kind of voice would not give me the sense of safety. It's a voice which invites me to relax. And the listening set, right? The muscles in the middle ear and the tympano, it's prepared to hear human voice and not to hear the surroundings. And in this state, we can interact socially. We can have a relaxed contact with others. We having conversations. This is a state where we need to play, to dance, and so on. And people like most of you who are core energetics practitioners or in training or some clients, that's what we do a lot. We dance a lot, right? We play a lot. And this is a form of inducing the social engagement system, right? That's what we do in reality. So now you have more the anatomic view of all what we do in body work. And we are in this cycle, we're in this green cycle, everything is fine. So sometimes we need to engage a little bit of the sympathetic system because we need it to social interact in a healthy way. This is what we call the healthy aggression. We need some excitement to say no, to put boundaries, to defend ourselves in our when we are in a discussion, right? There needs to be some excitement also in passion, in when I want to do something, right? And it's also needed when we want to make love, right? We need some kind of excitement, not only men, also women, to get into the sex act, so to say. And this is a small activation of the sympathetic nerve. That means breathing becomes stronger, the muscle tones increases, and the heart rate increases. But this is healthy. This is okay. We need that in life, right? So we get into the excitement, right? I need to go to work. I need to discuss in work. I need to put limits and whatever. And then I'll go back into green, I go back home, and I need to relax because I need to have a good sleep. So that's where we regulate our emotions and our behavior. The dorsal vagus nerve, the immobilization system, we also need this immobilization system in our normal life because we need to have this kind of immobilization without fear in order to do things which involve somehow immobilization, like when we want to meditate or do yoga, or intimacy in the sense of really like hugging and cuddling in this place of where you just, you're relaxing. And this requires immobilization, but it's a healthy immobilization. And of course, I need immobilization to sleep because I need to shut down my system in order to have a deep sleep, right? So this is a healthy thing. And it's also a light activation of the dorsal vagus. Okay, it supports well-being, the regeneration and physical development, the stabilization of the immune system, very important, and general health maintenance. So this, when we move in this state from, you know, a healthy red state, green, and healthy yellow state, we are in a dynamic, optimal dynamic range of the autonomic nervous system, which is the basis for feeling secure and being able to make close connections. So what happens if this is not healthy and you know, there's some disbalance there? And in most of us, there is disbalance, right? And that's why it's very important to work with the body, because this is all things happening in the body. It's not the sense of safety in the mind, it's really the sense of safety in the body. Okay, so what happens when we come into the yellow state, yellow area, and we need to go into flight, right? Through neuroception, they say, oh, this is really a lion now. It's not only my boss coming, it's really a lion, so I really need to defend myself. And I come in the yellow phase. Here we have a full activation of the sympathetic nervous system, and everything increases, right? The breathing increases, the heart rate, the muscle tension, the intestine activities, it stops, stress hormones are released, and my muscle start to engage, right? My voice is not more relaxed, right? Because the vagus nerve is not activated anymore. So all this part is getting tension, and through that, my voice is not, it gets into high pitches. And this happens too, even though, like what is happening with me now, it's, if I would be relaxed, I will have another voice. And you can hear in the tone of my voice that I'm not completely relaxed. There's no boss and there's no lion here in my apartment, but this is a, you know, it's a state of excitement, which I'm in the yellow phase right now, right? And you can hear it, you can hear it. And the middle ear, what happens here is it adjusts to the surrounding. It stops hearing the human voice, it just hears the surrounding. So benevolent social interaction is not possible anymore. So I'm more in the fight-flight. And there are different stages of fight-flight. It's not only like with animals, they just run and that's it. Submissiveness is a state of alertness. When I'm threatening somebody, I'm trying to, you know, defend myself. So this is also another higher level of protectiveness. If I get angry, if I get aggressive, and of course, if I dispute or I'm about to injure somebody. So these are different states of the state of alarm, of danger, of sympathetic range, so to say. And we work a lot with that in core, right? If we have a system which is more immobilized, like we will see now, we try to activate it, right? And the other way around, if we have anger, we work with the anger to, you know, to come into a state of green, of relaxation, and so on. So we work with that. So what is the solution if I'm in a case of danger? And that's what we do. We regulate or co-regulate. What means co-regulation? Means when I have somebody else, the therapist, a good friend, whatever, to help me regulate. And that's what also we teach our clients, to regulate themselves. If they're in a state of alertness, what do I need to do to come down into green, to come down into relaxation, right? So if we have a lion, we need to get out of the environmental danger, whatever it is. Or we need to reassess the situation. Maybe we think it's a lion, but it's not a lion, it's our boss. But throughout our experience, whenever we are in a situation when somebody is shouting at us or saying something or a special energy, our system gets into yellow and into alertness, and we react like it's something dangerous. So we need to reassess. This is a lot of the bringing awareness in the session, right? Is this real, or is it part of a story, you know, and so on. So we need to regulate ourselves back into the green area, let's say. Right from here, the yellow one, back to, sorry, back to the green one. Okay. So what happens if we're not finding any solution to the danger, right? If we stay into this fight or flight, the danger remains there, and there's no sense of security. And this is real, because this is in the body, yeah? So we need to see what part is in the mind, and it's attached to beliefs and experiences and so on, and which is what is really real there. Because in this state, we cannot manage to regulate our emotions and behaviors. And if we haven't any support from anyone in form of co-regulation, it's really difficult. And if we don't find a solution, we'll probably invite that this danger happens again and again and again. And this is really what happens, we will see later, with trauma. We had this experience of alertness over and over and over again. That's where my system stays. So my system stays in remains in a state of high sympathetic excitement, and I'm expecting danger anytime, always. So I'm not able to relax, to find back to the green area. And this is how we call the dynamic range of the autonomic nervous system, which is highly activated. So I have sustained physical stress, right? Because I cannot relax. So I'm not sleeping well. Every sound, I'm very sensitive to sound. I'm constantly in a state of alert. It's very hard to, as I said, to relax. And out of there, I will have a wide range of illnesses where I can go to. And this is really the triggers of trauma, right? When we stay into this yellow phase and we keep on, this is what happened, maybe in the past, maybe now, where we keep on repeating this response. The system stays in this yellow over and over again. And so we start having a reactive response to certain kind of voices, to the environment, to actions and behaviors of other people, and postures, touch, maybe touch. We play a lot in core about space, right? So it's about how if I don't trust you, I don't want you near me. So you need to be far away. So we play with that. And that's where we work in order to bring the system out of to co-regulate the system and regulate it back to the green social engagement system. And in case of mortal danger, so it's a lion and it's really a lion and it's really going to eat me, the dorsal vagus is being activated, and my entire system protects itself from an overload of the sympathetic system. So my body gives the impression that there's no life in it. It's really maybe a complete immobilization. We will see there are different types of immobilization, but it can go this way. So the breathing becomes very shallow, the heart rate drops, my muscles are completely loosened. There's no tension in the muscles. The sensation of pain decreases, of course, and it's all about saving my life and saving my resources. And that we see a lot when we work with people who are in this immobilization state. You can also see it because they're kind of dissociated, that when you touch their hands, they are not, you know, there's no tension in the extremities. This is, even though they're not completely in the complete state of immobilization, but they are in this red state somehow. So this would be the dysregulated dynamic range, and it's the traumatizing areas, right? So this can have very long-term consequences. And it's a, you know, a low capacity. And in this stage, when our system is in this stage, it is very difficult to cognitive, to understand things. Our cognitive capacities to communicate, to solve things, to understand are really reduced, because it's not about understanding, it's about surviving. So this is really important to know when you're working with a client and they're going through a big process. And sometimes I have the feeling they don't understand right now what I'm telling them, what I'm saying to them. And this is probably because they're in this state somehow. So it's too much, it's an overload of too much. So the entire system, as I said, physiologically protects itself from danger. And there are several stages of immobility. One of it is grief, this collapsing in the grieving. And we know that that can be, I mean, that's one of the states of depression. When people are sustained over a long time depressed, that's immobility. This is this stage. It can also be shock in a moment where, you know, there's only freeze and it's immediate immobility. I can also have this tendency of retreat, but, you know, the retreat of when it's more like this and I want to disappear. They're completely shut down, where your motoric, you cannot move, and there's a very low, as I said, you know, you grab the hand of the person and it's a piece of jelly. And of course they completely collapse, which would be the fainting. So how do we come from dysregulation? Doesn't matter if I'm in a yellow state or in a completely red state. How do we come back to the optimal dynamic range? Through co-regulation, regulation, co-regulation. And as we know, there are active therapy. So we have all kinds of body psychotherapy, and it's about dissolving the life circumstances, which are now, let's say, a mirror of what happened in the past, or maybe I'm still in these life circumstances, maybe I'm still in a dangerous environment. Maybe this is true. Maybe it's only a mirror, or it's how I perceive my environment, but I just took it from the past and made it into the present. And it's where I negotiate life, as they say. And for me, it's this about bringing awareness, you know, belief systems, idealized self-images, what is my behavioral pattern, working with the lower self, working with the higher self, you know, all this stage 4 of core and so on. And there are also passive therapy. I've called it passive. And this is, as an example, this safe and sound protocol system and the focus system protocol from Dr. Stephen Porges. And he has developed, these are two systems. There are other things, I'll come to that in a minute. But these are two systems which work on the middle ear and on the brain. The focus system is engaging more sensory perception. The SSP is working only with middle ear. And it's about exactly what I told you, with this co-regulation of the muscle, so that I don't perceive so much of the surroundings, and I can feel more safe because I filter the surroundings, right? So I can concentrate more in what is here now. And as you know, healing occurs when on the path of co-regulation, right? And the therapy is the the person who helps me co-regulate, or my friend. In the path of co-regulation, we experience again and again the feeling of security and connectedness in the body, here and now. And that's how safety is created in the body. And that's what we do, right? In core. That's exactly what we do. We go through yellow and red, and we go back to green, and the body can relax. And in this state of relaxation, of social engagement, I'm connecting with somebody I trust, and I know it's safe for me to trust, and I know it's safe for me to make deep connections. And that's about it. I mean, we need to do that, of course, depending on where we are with our nervous system. We need to do that a lot of times, but that's how the brain has and the brain and the system has a plasticity. It works the same way when we repeated, when we had a lot of situations with danger in the past. It created a pattern, but the same way goes the other way around. It creates more and more and again situations of safety, out of danger. We are able at some point to co-regulate ourselves and to live more out of the, really live and sense in the body that I'm safe. So what is this? I called it vagus state. I don't know if this is a term or not. I just called it like that. For me, it's the vagus state. It's the state where the vagus nerve is activated. And people with low vagus tone, and when you can see that because they're overexcited, or the voice is, it has a lack of prosody, of this rhythm and this intonation, lack of eye contact, social communication. The facial expressivity is either not really there, or in, closed jaw, and where they bite the lips together because they're kind of in the alertness state. They have difficulties in regulate their behavioral state, either anxious or hypervigilant or impulsive or hyperarousal or meltdowns, It's also difficult for them to listen, to hear verbal commands, and if this happens very soon, they have speech language delays. That's what a lot of logopedy, a lot of children which have problems with hearing and language has a lot to do with that, right? And sound sensitivity, of course, has had also a lot to do with that. And all of this oral motor defensiveness, like ingestive behaviors, meal refusal, and so on. So this are all characteristics of people who are not, have a low vagus tone. So I'm getting to the end. So what can you do? And I think it's today's holy grail. That's how I called it. It's the holy grail is the connection to your vagus nerve, because you want to do a lot of things what you can do in order to stimulate it. Okay, so of course the most important thing what we do in body psychotherapy is to bring awareness to our emotions, our vibrations, our state of being. How is my body doing? We're constantly asking you, how is your body doing? Where do you feel it in your body? Breathe, ground, it's all that. So how can you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and relaxation, through this passive therapy from Dr. Stephen Porges? Breathing consciously into the belly, right? Because we've seen a lot of nerves of the vagus nerve is a lot in the intestines. So really breathing into the belly helps a lot. Also making the exhalation bigger than the inhalation, that helps a lot. Everything what is opening the chest, because this is the other movement besides of the contracting is the opening. So we work in the muscles of opening that part, softening the jaw and the pelvis because they are connected and they tend to contract and relax together. And you know, who have already worked with core, how much we work with the expression of the face, opening up the jaw, expressing anger, softening the all kinds of exercise to release the pressure here. And it's very relaxed, very connected to the pelvis. So we do a lot of pelvis work and a lot of work with that. And all, you know, we do also deep massage to all the facial nerves and so on. It's also a way of activating this vagus nerve. Getting professional work, osteopathy, craniosacral, massages, acupuncture, all these things help us to get into the state of relaxation. Of course, body psychotherapy, core energetics, bioenergetics, somatic experience, trauma release exercises. I mean, we do that also in core, right? The series of TRE is just an induced way of inducing this neurogenic tremor, which is the tremor when the muscle starts trembling, and it's a discharge. We work a lot with charge and discharge, and this is a discharge of the in the muscles, which helps. If the muscle has been, if we have been too much charged, means that we have had too much activation of the sympathetic system. So we need to discharge the sympathetic system in order to get more to the parasympathetic system, okay? Physical affective contact, that's what we need. We need hugs, we need touch, we need, as I said, as mammals, we need co-regulation with other mammals. It's very, very important. Hugging, cuddling, caressing, all of this. It all helps to relax the system. Feel your emotion, make sounds, express what you're feeling with the face, right? Make sounds regularly. It can be singing, humming, singing, purring, buzzing, whatever. It's all Peter Levine, which is the creator, the founder of somatic experience. He has created, he says always the best sound to make to activate the vagus nerve through the middle ear is the v. And it's done with the v, like the Germans do. The v, because if you do this kind of chanting, really you can feel the vibration here. And if you close your eyes and you push your eyes inside, what you can do, this vibration in the middle ear becomes stronger, like you can really feel it. You need to try a little bit because it's really very relaxing. It's inducing a lot the relaxation of the vagus nerve in the ear. Practice, of course, yoga, meditation. This is very fun. I started doing the Wim Hof method, I think 2 years ago, with a friend of mine who introduced me to that method. And I really noticed how doing the training with cold water, for those who don't know, Wim Hof is I think 70 years old man from Holland, and he introduced this cold treatment, and it's about having baths in cold water. And I've noticed when I was doing the training that when you go to the cold water, your sympathetic system gets running, right? Because you start, because it's cold, so you start breathing. And what he helps you to train how to relax into the cold water. So you go into the cold water and you start exhaling a long time. And with some exercises, you train yourself and what you do to be relaxed in water. And I've experienced the most Zen moments in cold water ever. This is amazing. And it's about training your body to relax in danger, like in a space where my system starts running. I tell them, no, you're safe, you can relax. And this is incredible. It's really incredible. You should try it if you've not. And it's now proven scientifically that cold treatments help to induce the vagus nerve. So you know what you need to do. Yeah, playing, laughing, smiling, dancing, playing an instrument, vibration, like the bowl meditation, induces also vagus nerve because the vibration is very low. And last but not least, because I think this is very important, I also work with pets, as you know, and spending time with animals is very important to co-regulate ourselves. They help us a lot, right, to deal with our emotions. And cats, I mean, this has not been studied. This is my own perception of it. Cats have this, I think, amazing capacity to regulate through the pouring. They regulate their own system to relax themselves. So what they do with this vibration, they're really working on their vagus nerve in their ear. And this vibration for us also, it's very relaxing. So what you can do is you put your cat on your chest or on your belly and let them pour you into relaxation. Okay, so that's it. Any one of you having questions? Yeah, Corinne.
Thank you, Daniela. It was really very interesting. And what I heard in your voice was a very tone of excitement and of passion for what you were trying to educate us in this really interesting topic. I'm very interested in this topic too. And when you were talking about the cat and about listening to the purr voice, of the purr sound of the cat, Lynn Craden once told us another thing that also has a really relaxating, that is when you are caressing a very soft cushion or something, and you're really, with your attention, you are with this underneath your hand, and you're really feeling, what's happening. It's really de-stressing you. It is really, I think, also helping your nerve system to calm down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's caressing, of course, also your cat. It's about
touch is incredible.
Touch,
yeah,
really important.
Yeah.
So that was what I would like to add to your.
Yeah, I think I put it somewhere in the last slide. Caressing touch is very important, and this is a point what you're just saying about what is happening right now with all this COVID thing. It's most of us, many of us are having problems with it because this social engagement system needs, I need to see you, I need to see your face, I need to see your expression, and I need to touch you.
Yeah.
And you know, we're having masks, we cannot see each other, and all this sensory perceptions we need through this neuroception. Yeah. We're getting signals of danger in reality. You know, we're not seeing people, we're hearing their voice, but we cannot really, you know, some of them are very stressed. We cannot touch them, we cannot smell them, we cannot see them. And this is really, so our neuroception, as I was explaining in the beginning, it's completely freaking out. You know, so it's difficult right now. Yeah. So caressing, yes. So I hope all this COVID measures will, I don't know,
come to an end. Yeah.
Come to an end at some point, because we really need it as humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Hannah. Please. Yeah.
So I want to thank you, Daniela, really, for doing this. I feel very touched by, for the first time I feel I understand it a little bit more. before, every time when I had something about nervous systems, I felt overwhelmed and a little bit, you know, in danger because I can't get it. So this time I feel really relaxed. And I think some of it really came to me, but I feel really touched by how many opportunities we have to regulate or to help ourselves or to help our clients. So I really love your last slide with all of the possibilities, and they fit together and they come one with another. So this is very rich, and I am thankful, but I feel also very touched that some of it I already introduced to my life and to my family's life, and that I have such an option also for my clients. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. And also for bringing us together. This is also important. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm very glad that you took so much out of it, because this was really my point in doing this, that, you know, most of you are therapists already, or you're in training, and I think this is a very important things to know, you know, that this was the missing puzzle I needed to really understand what we say so many times: ground. You need to ground your client. But this was a word, I mean, I kind of got it, but, you know, after studying this, now I know what it means. I need to come into the social engagement system, you know, and into the green area. So thank you. This is really nice. Anik.
I want to add some experience I had with clients.
Please.
Like, it's so important for traumatized people to go slowly. I see they have the tendency to want to work hard and fast, and it puts them again in their trauma. So slowing down, keeping the social engagement is very important, because if they go too fast, they lose a bit the connection and go in their spinning in their world into the danger zone. So slowing down, keeping the connection is important. And like for one of the clients who had trauma, she can revisit and work there if I guide her with my voice. And so she can close her eyes and allow the images as long as I'm talking to her. Slowly, not too much, but the sound of my voice allows her to visit and do the work. Mm-hmm. I think it's important. It's quite simple, and it works for her. Otherwise, she goes in a real cramp. And even the first is the reaction of freezing, and then her system goes in a full cramp. So I learned to slow down, use my voice a lot. And like even in Brennan School, we learned that I don't use it much as the sounding. So my voice talking is important, but even on a traumatized area, you can do oh.
The vibration, yeah.
Especially on the belly. It can be really comforting. And I think I'm a bit like the spinning cat then. You can use it with your own voice on the heart, on the belly, on different areas when there is trauma and it goes in tendency to cramp or to hurt. Sounding in a deep tone can really help. Yeah. That was some things that came up.
Yeah, and we know how much emotions are in the belly, right? And it's exactly this not feeling safe, you know, the lack of safety in the belly because of the vagus nerve. And it's good that you said that, because this is about traumatized people. For many people, really, it's the other way around, in the sense of getting into a state of relaxation, when you would say that's what our purpose, it will re-traumatize that, because that's, I think I'm putting more attention to what you said, that it really needs to be very slowly, because for them being relaxed, that is what created the danger. So their system thinks I cannot relax, because if I relax, I'll get in danger, which is, you know, exactly the other way around. So it's really important. And I was working with one client, which is it's extreme. I mean, she's so sensitive, and I was working with this SSP system of Dr. Porges, as I told you. He has a sound and safe protocol, and she could not hear to the music for not even 7 minutes. Her whole system started reacting so much to it. So I gave her Dr. Stephen Porges, and he works with a company. They do also cushions with this special bone induction and ear induction, which they use for very sensitive people, or for also for autistic people. And it helps you a lot also to relax, right? If you have problems to sleep. And even this cushion, which is just putting the head and having this induction through the bones, it's already, she cannot do it more than 10 minutes. So it's really, you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, it's a good statement. Relaxation for them means danger.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, but it's really true. Yeah.
So there you need to work differently.
I do quite a lot of breath work, and what you see is that by inhaling you bring up the stress, so you activate your stress system. By like Wim Hof, you did the Wim Hof method, but part of his method is that you use the retention, which is deactivating and really letting you go. And going through that swing a couple of times in 20 minutes really learns people to get rid of these continuous stress levels, which you experience if you are under continuous stress, as you speak. Right? So I could experience with that, using breath as a means to deactivate continuous stress levels and get more flexibility between building up and letting go. To learn that, how you
exactly. This is the co-regulation, what we mean, and this is also the term we have on resilience, or building the container, right? The emotional container, and also the physical container. Exactly that. Yeah. Thank you, Richard.
For me, this was the missing puzzle piece between psychotherapy and the body. And it started with 2 days Gees did the last week, well, the last weekend we had. I think it was February. There was 2 days around the neuroscience in body psychotherapy. And this is like a detailed step into a niche in that neuroscience about the vagal nerve. So I'm really, really grateful. Thanks for that. And for me, it is like the foundation of body psychotherapy. It is. Yeah, it's basically why I'm drawn to body psychotherapy. Yeah, and to give me a better understanding of how my body works and how trauma release and trauma healing works in my body. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Corinne?
Yeah, I just want to tell that there is a speech and language therapist in the Netherlands who is working together with Stephen Porges on the voice and the ear. And she's giving class or a whole weekend in September. I'm a speech and language therapist too. And for me, being a core therapist and also speech and language therapist combines this Stephen Porges theory. And it's also, I'm very passionate about this. So if people are interested, then they can also email me, and then I can tell them who this therapist is, and I can.
Stephen Porges has, besides the SSP and the focus training, which works with all sensory levels, let's say, it has a voice pro. It's called Voice Pro. So I guess that's what you do, right?
Yeah, that's.
I didn't go that way because I'm not a logopedist, logotherapist. Yeah. So that's what you're doing. Interesting.
Yeah.
I would be great to exchange.
I want to ask you, the SSP protocol of Stephen Porges, is it something you buy or you can rent, or how do you?
Yeah. Okay, so you have different things, right? The SSP, which is the easiest one, let's say. You can do a training online. You can buy it. Well, not buy it. You can hire it, right? And I think that you can either hire it, the method or the therapy. It's a 5 to 8 days where you listen to this music 1 hour a day. If you can listen to the music 1 hour a day, right? Because as I told you, if you're very sensitive, you maybe can just do 7 minutes. And then it really depends of the client. Like maybe somebody can listen 15 minutes and they get irritated or they dissociate, or, you know, like you have to really watch if the client is still in the sympathetic, in the parasympathetic, or he's having signs of sympathetic response. And then maybe you need to stop the music, maybe you need to move a little bit, but just move, light moving. It's not about discharging, or, you know. So after maybe 15 minutes, when you think the client is stable, then you go back again to the music, see if it works, if his system is accepting it. So maybe in 1 hour, you just do half an hour of listening. So then you need to, of course, prolong the treatment, right? Maybe you have a client which is okay with listening 1 hour, and it's important that they listen to the music. And the music is it's frequent based, and it changes, and it, you know, it changes from one to the other, and the sound and the loudness, loudness. So it depends on, and the time they can, you know, maybe draw or do something what relaxes them. I have a client, she takes the, how do you say that, hakeln?
Yeah.
And she does hakeln, you know, and so I just watch, and sometimes we move, sometimes, you know, aggressivity can come up. So it's very important to, when they're entering the state, the yellow state or the red state, right? It's important to cut it. In the sense of not do, because we don't want them to experience the same thing again. In the past, their system got overwhelmed. They went into the yellow sympathetic response, and then they tried to regulate from there, and that's what went wrong. And so we want to keep them in the green state, and as soon as their sympathetic system gets triggered, to stop, so that they can feel safe again. It's really about, you know, establishing again the sense of safetyness. So it's really, you need to, it's not about giving them a newspaper and you're working at the computer. It's really watching how, you know, co-regulate, helping them co-regulate the experience. It's really very important. If somebody has co-regulation problems, you as a therapist need to be in a vagal state, so that they really can use you to co-regulate themselves. So this is the SSP, what I just talked. And then the focus system and the Voice Pro, I don't know, Corinne can tell, the focus system is a very similar system, and it also goes through bone conduction and ear conduction, and it's about improving the sensory perception depending on where the lacks are, in the sense of, and maybe I need to put a presentation again. So this is how our central nervous system develops since we're a child. So first it's the development of the sensory systems, as we said, the 7 systems, right? Then is the sensory-motory development, the postural, bilateral, right, left, they start walking, so it's about all the balance and so on, and body structure awareness. So if I move my hand, what happens? You know, I can grab something and so on. And then it's the perceptual motor development. This is more the gross motory, and this is the fine motory. And then on the top is the cognitive intellectual development. So if I don't feel safe, if my body has not developed correctly in the early stages, and that's more or less what we learn in core with the characterologies, I will not be able to learn as good as somebody who has a good sense of the body. And this is very important because many times we work with children in school and they're not paying attention, or they have difficulties to focus or to in math or so on. But it's not about that. They're probably in their body development, they're not correctly developed. And this is really important. And coming back to the question, the focus system works these three first stages of this pyramid. So they get the phones, right? And depending on what they need to develop, even if it's a pre-perception, or maybe it's the motor planning or whatever, we do different exercises. Like I put them on a balance board, and so that they can start balancing themselves. And then I start talking with them, and why balancing, they need to talk and tell me something. And then maybe on a later stage, we start doing math tasks like 10 plus 17 minus 3, so they need to keep the balance, and they need to work with the brain. Or they're in the balance board and I throw them balls, so they need to catch them. And so with this focus systems, what you do is you work on the neuroplasticity of the brain, and you create new connections in the brain, so that all this sensory lacks what you had in childhood can recreate again, can make new connections.
I understand you do that with children.
You can do that with children. You can do that with grown-up people, with adults also. Like if you have a brain injury, in this focus system, there are 2 programs which are made for people who just have a lot of stress in their work, and it's just about relaxation. And it's not about improving any kind of sensory perception. So it's really very bright. So yeah. And you can work with adults, of course. And if you work with children, the better, because you start helping them from the beginning before this gets into adult, before they get adult. So because as an adult, then you have to live with your lacks. And of course you compensate a lot, but yeah.
We had
That's where my question came from, because from a child point of view, the brain is still developing, so you can kind of steer it a little bit in where to develop. But for an adult, the brain is already fully developed. So I was wondering if it's still useful that it can be reprogrammed or redeveloped.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can.
About that in the school, about the developmental patterns. And so we learn to do the movements that a baby makes and a toddler makes. And then you can see for yourself where you have lacks, and you can train with clients on the areas where they lack something. So adults can still learn that. It takes time.
It takes more time than with children, of course. Yeah. So thank you everyone for having so much patience and the good questions. And yeah, let's do something together, maybe at school, or kind of exchange experiences and knowledge and so on. Yeah. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniela.
Have a good Sunday. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. So houden we halten.